Hey guys, welcome back to the Community Cares Podcast. I'm Dave. I'm the Executive Director at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
And I'm Chaplain Chaz Blackburn, and I have the honor of being the President of Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. And today we have the Executive Director for Real Choices, which is a fantastic resource for our community. So I will let you introduce yourself.
All right. Hey guys, my name is Nicku Bruce and I'm the Executive Director at Real Choices Women's Center. We are Reno's life-affirming Christian pregnancy resource center, Washoe County's only brick and mortar center. We've been around for over 43 years serving the community.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Wow, that it's not very often we find a nonprofit that has been around longer than us, Dave.
I know. Well,
we're usually the OGs. Well, it's been 30 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you've been 28.
28.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, 29. I think it's 29 now.
No, you're wrong.
Well, we'll round it off to almost 30 years. How's that?
Almost 30. Almost 30.
Details.
The plaque's up front. It says the day we were open.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyways.
If you haven't figured out, we like to make fun of each other on this podcast.
And I'm right in the middle.
That's why we put the guest in the middle. So we don't fight each other.
That's right.
All right.
Physically. You know.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
Boys.
It's a problem.
No.
It's a problem.
I don't hate
Feeling
girls.
unsafe.
Whoa. We're not going to. No. That is not what I meant. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I'm saying because you're a girl, I don't hate girls. That's easy.
Oh, wow.
Anyways,
Usually you're making fun of me, so this is fun.
Let's jump into the sponsorship segment. Our first sponsor we're going to highlight today is Shelley's Hardware. Shelley's Hardware is your local retail awesome place where you can get your lawnmower and your leaf blower and that bolt.
Literally.
You can get a singular bolt.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy the whole package there.
Wow.
Right.
How cool is that?
And it's excellent customer service. I know.
Yeah,
I always
I know.
want to support local businesses that are supporting nonprofits like they support us.
Yep.
So that's definitely a great organization. And I don't know, how long have you been in Reno?
Me?
No.
Me?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry. I'm like Sparks here.
like
Reno
personally?
Sparks. Yes, personally.
10 years.
10 years, okay. So, I don't know if you know this, but that Shelley's Hardware over there used to be an airplane hangar.
Oh, wow.
So they have cool little t-shirts with airplane hanger on it. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so it's an amazing organization.
Great local business who really cares about the community. And thank you, Shelley's Hardware, for sponsoring the Community Cares Podcast. The next sponsor is Spherian. Spherian Staffing is a local staffing agency. If you need that recruit, that person to fill in your job needs, they are the people to reach out to.
I love that you can text them and say, I need a job.
Right. And they're great. They care a lot about the community. They make it happen. Brian, the VP, actually listens to the show. So hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
It's awesome that he is so invested and they are invested and want to see community efforts like the Community Cares Podcast be out there. So thank you, Spherian. And I finally learned how to say it after having Stephen Layden on.
Yeah.
I always said it wrong every week. And Brian, the VP, would tell me. I'm like, oh man. Then he'd tell me the right way to say it, and I'd still get it wrong.
That's okay.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Thank you, Brian, for all your support. Despite us butchering your name.
Despite us butchering your business name. It's a cool business name. I like it. So those are our sponsors for today. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring the Community Cares Podcast. If you'd like to sponsor, please reach out to me, Dave, at getclothes.org. That's the place to go ahead and request information about sponsorships.
All right. Well, let's dive into what your organization is all about and what you offer to the community, because I don't think people really grasp what you actually offer. And there's a lot of great resources that you guys offer.
Right. So our primary offering are free medical grade pregnancy tests, pregnancy options coaching, and ultrasounds to meet your baby. And so in those ultrasounds, we check 3 things that are really important. So we check gestational age to see how big baby is, location of the pregnancy, is the baby located in the uterus or is there an ectopic pregnancy, and is the pregnancy viable? Is there a heartbeat? Now, depending on what choice a woman makes, we've also got additional services services. Like we have abortion recovery referral programs. And granted, we are a pro-life organization. I want to make that really clear. We're a Christian life-affirming organization. We never recommend, refer for, or certainly perform termination procedures, but we know that God gives people free will, and we believe their educated choice is going to be their best choice. The neat thing about what we do is when you educate, they typically make a choice for life once they find out what's going on. We also have a baby boutique and free parenting classes, birthing classes, lactation support, doula support. We have an adoption director who will meet with parents that are considering placing their baby for adoption and families that are interested in starting or growing their family through the gift of adoption. And we also have miscarriage support and fatherhood mentorship. So we do a whole lot over at Real Choices, and everything is free and everything is totally confidential.
Is Otto still part of your organization?
I am new Otto.
You're new Otto, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Otto's
a good dude.
He is a good dude. I
love
just
Otto.
texting with him last week. So Otto, for those of you who don't know, moved to Texas almost half a decade ago. So it's been a little minute.
I didn't know if he was still on the board or if he was
No.
because he is traveling around a lot. He pops through here every now and then.
He pops in,
doing speaking,
preaches at Outlook Church every once in a while. Pastor Dan, yeah. He's great man of God, and just love the legacy he's left for us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what are some of the main reasons that women talk to you about why they were seeking abortion in the first place?
Well, a lot of times it is just they've been conditioned in our society these days that they can't be a mom and have it all. They need to choose motherhood or career or motherhood and security when it comes to housing or food or a relationship. There's a financial component. More than half of abortions that we see are actually from moms that already have one or more kids. So they know, they just don't feel like they can have more. And then they've been sold the lie that through the abortion pill, particularly in the state of Nevada, that abortion is just an easy, clean, just get in, get out, no big deal option. You can do it from home. You can get mail order pills from home. And that then you just move on with your life and everything's completely fine.
So I wanted to ask real quick. So we have a lot of listeners. I know there's people that will listen to this episode that are not okay with crisis pregnancy centers and other things. That we have a good mix of people that listen to the show. And I think some of the reason is the stigmas and stuff put around you guys. You guys are not, I don't think you guys are out there protesting people right now. But a lot of times those people are linked to you guys mentally for the public. Yeah. So I've done a tour of your guys' facility in the past. It was actually Otto, the one that gave it to me back when I was a pastor. And my church did some support for you guys in the past and other things. And it's not about guilting or saying how evil that person is. Correct. It really, I mean, from what I saw, it just felt like education.
That's right.
And so what would you say to the person listening to this who was like, wow, you're evil?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, what would you say to that person?
Yeah, I actually love that question because the stigma is real. You know, this is the place where you go and they guilt you into keeping your baby. They shame you for wanting to have an abortion, you know, all these things. We hear it all. Or these are the people that stand in front of clinics and protest and yell at girls and hold up signs with, you know, terrible images on them. We are not that.
Yeah, you're not doing that, right?
No. And so it is just education. And regardless of whether you're pro-life or pro-choice or somewhere in the middle and you're not quite sure where you stand, everyone deserves to have the education of what's going on in their body and then what's going to happen if they choose to make the choice for abortion and have those procedures. And that's what we sit and we do. We're not your best friend. We're not your grandma. We're not your mom. We're not going to give you our opinion on any of it. We ask lines of questioning to get to the heart of the matter and to go, hey, have you considered this? Have you considered that? Do you want to know more about this? Everything we do is permission based, and the girls are hungry for the information because there's so little truth out there of what really happens. And what we do that really differentiates is that ultrasound, because again, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, a woman deserves to know what's happening inside of her body from a place that will not profit off of her decision. We don't profit off the choice she makes. And if you've ever tried to convince someone to do something they don't want to do, have you ever tried to convince a woman to do something they don't want to do? You can't. If she comes in there and she has her mind made up of what she wants to do, or if she makes it up along the way in the appointment one way or the other, That's her choice to make, and we're very respectful of that, but we want to make sure she has all the education that she wants to be able to make an informed decision. And here in Nevada, that is incredibly important because of the mail order abortion pill industry. Again, this is not a life or choice issue. This is a women's safety issue. So in Nevada, you can order abortion pills online 24/7 with no in-person medical supervision. And that is scary for a woman because you're not checking the 3 things that we check on the ultrasound. How far along are you really? Oftentimes, the majority of time we see these women coming in, they're not women like, this is an unplanned pregnancy. We aren't tracking our periods and know our ovulation schedule. Coming in, we got a positive test. Oh my gosh, what do I do? They think they know how far along they are, but only way you're going to know is by doing that ultrasound. And a lot of times they're wrong. And the FDA limit is 10 weeks on these pills. You take it past that, there's serious medical complications, including incomplete abortions or it not working at all. And so we come in and we check, how far along are you really? We had multiple stories in the last 12 months of women coming in thinking they're in their first trimester. They're well into their third. You go, how does that happen? I don't know. They get into denial. They get into a place where they don't want to think about it. And then when they do finally think about it, and this isn't a condemnation, this is just facts, they're way farther along. Is there a heartbeat? An online abortion pill provider that's going to mail pills to your house doesn't care if there's a heartbeat. They're not checking. An abortion and a miscarriage are 2 totally different procedures and are taken care of very differently. One in the abortion clinic, one in a doctor's office. And a woman needs to know, is there a heartbeat? Is this baby even viable? And then also the location of the pregnancy. The online abortion pill provider, where the majority of women are getting their pills, are not checking if this pregnancy is in the uterus. If you take these pills and you have an ectopic pregnancy, which means the pregnancy is developing in the fallopian tubes instead of in the uterus, again, extremely dangerous to take these medications. And they could risk a ruptured ectopic pregnancy by not going in and seeing their doctor. So these are things that we do that are completely free. And like I said, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, every woman deserves this education, and we're here to give it to her. And whatever she decides, we walk alongside. If she chooses abortion, we call her the day after her procedure. Are you okay? Are you interested in abortion recovery support resources? We walk alongside her so that she knows she's not alone.
That's really important because you're not just pushing on her. Well, you didn't agree with our beliefs, and so we're done with you.
And we don't share, and this is again, we don't share our beliefs. We're not in there saying, this is your best choice, this is what you need to do. But the education typically results in a decision for life, like I said earlier.
And I think that's showing God's love, though, is still walking alongside and meeting someone where they're at. That's kind of our motto, is to meet people where they're at. Yeah. I want to get a little personal real quick. This is something that I would like to just share. I will never try to pretend that I can walk in the shoes of a mother or to know what they're going through. Some of the things in the community that I hear are, well, there's not enough resources for those mothers to raise their children in this. People are quick to say pro-life, but they don't want to come alongside them and actually provide those resources. And then there's the hypocrisy of, let's be pro-life for children, but not for seniors, in the sense of walking alongside seniors, we just discard them. Me personally, and I'm sharing this because we like to go deep, right?
Yeah, I love this.
Dave, we like to go about, what's really honest, and something that I've even talked to my daughter, she's 13, she's out there, Lily, about, and I've always been super transparent because it's the truth of what's going on. And for me, before I was right with the Lord, I was having a big corporate career. I'd gotten my girlfriend pregnant. We ended up getting married, which is Lily's mom, and she's my ex-wife. And I remember I was pushing for an abortion, and I was, we were highly considering aborting Lily. And, I provide a lot. I'm the program director for the Grief and Trauma Resource Center. I'm the assistant corps commander for the Great Basin Chaplain Corps that has 70 licensed chaplains. And I do a lot of grief support. And I will say this, I've never met a person who had an abortion that didn't regret it or was at least grieving their baby. That is a real loss. And I don't think that women think about that flip side. I don't think we talk about that portion enough. And again, I'm not walking in a mother's shoes. I'm not here to judge anybody in that sense. I'm just stating a fact that me personally, I've not met someone who has not regretted that. And when I look at Lily and I look at the young lady she is and just how much she has changed my life, eventually I quit my corporate career and became a full-time dad. And I would never change that for anything in the world. And I became a chaplain and I completely turned my life around. But but I can't even imagine my life without Lily. You know, and I think that's important for people to really understand is these are human beings, and regardless of your beliefs, you know, that is a real loss for a mother. And I mean, whether it's a miscarriage, we also had a miscarriage, and we actually wanted that child at that time. It's tough. And so the reality of that, I really appreciate that you guys still walk alongside them and love on them and are there to support them regardless of what they choose, but also the education piece, because they have a right to make a full educated decision about what are the actual consequences. Now, consequences are good or bad. There are real implications regardless of your beliefs to the reality of what's going to take place. And then something that's not also talked about, and I understand that the fathers are not having to go through the physical changes that the mother is, but there are so many dads that want the child, and that loss I've come across is horrendous. That grief and that loss. So I just wanted to get personal and kind of share that perspective. So if you're out there and you're considering that, please just think about that and process that a little bit, that there are some other options. At least check out all the options and get educated so that you can make a decision that's going to impact you either way for the rest of your life.
So what would you say, Chaz, to someone who just heard what you said and now they hate you? What would you say to them?
That they hate me?
No. That's because of how polarized this whole conversation is. So they automatically, because of what you said, they'll turn on their brain. They'll be like, now I don't like Chaz. What would you say to that person?
I would say that their knowledge is power, and you should be educated on all sides of the spectrum. Just like I work with in all the different organizations I help lead, I work with all sides of the aisle politically, right? And so when an issue comes up, and even if I don't agree with it, I educate myself on all the sides so that I can speak to it. And I'm just a transparent person, you know. I will always be honest about how I feel, and we will not agree, but we should be able. What we've lost in this society is the ability to have respectful conversations about our disagreements and still move forward. Christopher Dare, Councilman Dare, is actually ex-Councilman Dare. I don't know why I still call him that, but brother Christopher introduced Dave and I, and he's a good friend of mine. And
biggest mistake of his life.
I'm friends with his sister. Be careful.
Yeah, she's awesome. And also, I love Chris, his mother. We work alongside each other too. But one thing he always strived for and talked about on some of his podcasts and different things was, where can we find common ground and move forward, even if we disagree? Right. And so I think a common ground here is that there are many realities that are not discussed in general society about abortion. And, you know, you don't have to hate me for encouraging people to get the education to make an educated decision. And again, I would say you're hating me for being, you know, pro-life in that aspect, but I also call out my fellow Christians and other people who are hypocritical and not serving our seniors. If people saw the people coming to our hospice house that have nobody to take care of them, they're dying in pain and agony, and that we're just turning our backs on in this community, that is also, I'm pro-life all the way around. And so I just, I would say, you know, you have a right to hate me. That's okay. But those are my beliefs, and I still will show you love even if I don't agree with you, because that's who I'm called to be.
Yeah, no, the reason I bring that up is because, you know, there are people that listen to this show. We've had those comments that are very against this mindset. But the reality is we need to be able to have conversations. And I think that next step, because one of the arguments I've heard from some of my friends on why abortion matters and why it should matter is obviously, you know, SA, and I don't want to say that word on
No, sexual assault. And I'll just give you a quick story. Well, let's go there.
I'm fine with talking about it, but let's try to avoid the words for demonetization and stuff.
Okay, well, that's a different story. So, if we're talking about AI triggering us, sure. So, SA, right?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with talking about it. It's just there's certain things that trigger things in the algorithms. So, but I am I do believe that we need to have those conversations,
Right.
and it's so polarized right now in our society that it's really hard to have these conversations because of the political divide. Oh, you believe this, you must be on this side. Oh, you believe this, you must be on this side. It's
Right.
like, that's not the point. It's a conversation. And so I think the two arguments that I've heard from a lot of people, which I hear some of the pieces in that argument, is SA, and then also the other one is, I don't want to add to the foster care system that's broken, right? Because adoption's hard.
But I think you have to call that what it is. I'm going to kill a baby so that there's not a reminder of the SA, or the trauma is not prolonged,
Right.
or that because they might be born into difficult circumstances, this baby that already exists shouldn't be born at all. And I think the SA one is really important, because if you break it down and you think about who you're talking about, you have three people in the mix, right? You've got the victim, or the survivor, if you want to call them the survivor. You've got the assailant, and then you've got the baby. And so who's getting the capital punishment in that scenario? The most innocent person. And so I think those are some of the things you have to kind of break down and think about what it is you're actually arguing for, if you're saying that that's why we need to be able to allow abortion through all 9 months, because that's where we're headed in Nevada, right? With question 6 on the ballot in November, we are headed for abortion all 9 months for any reason or no reason at all, by any healthcare practitioner. That does not mean licensed doctor who knows how to do the procedures in any healthcare facility. It does not have to be regulated anymore by the state, and it strips all parental notification. Right now we only have parental notification. It's not even consent. And there is a process where the woman, they're the child at this point, if they don't want to go through the parents, because let's say there is a dangerous situation, dad's gonna kill her if he finds out she's pregnant, they can go through judicial system and get that parental piece pushed aside, so she doesn't need that. She can get a judge's permission to get an abortion.
So, and I think a lot of what I've heard from opposing arguments and back and forth, I listen to a lot of debates.
Yeah.
I love debates. It is, okay, so when does life begin? What do you guys share with people at Real Choices?
Well, like a lot of coaching organizations, you turn the question on the person. When do you think life begins? Because again, we're not going to tell you when do you believe, what is your dogma? What do you believe? When does life begin? Most people, including 99% of embryologists, tell you that when sperm meets egg and conception happens, a new distinct human life is formed. No one's going to argue with that. So the question that they're actually arguing is, when is that life a person? And when does that life have value? And so that's the part that gets really subjective right now. If you're a Bible-believing Christian and you believe in Psalm 139, you're going to have one perspective on when did you become you, right? If you're a straight scientist, it might be viability or, whatever. There's going to be when that baby can live outside the womb on its own without any assistance. Also a slippery slope, because most toddlers can't live without their mom or some level of assistance. So I think it does beget a lot of really big questions about the origin of life and value and personhood.
My grandma, I love my grandma. There's a lot. She passed away quite a while ago, almost 7 years. But my grandma Judy and I could always have healthy discussions. We had that relationship, and a lot of different things that she believed, I didn't believe in that. And one of them was abortion. And I remember being 15 years old, and we had this conversation, and she respected my beliefs to not have abortions. But she felt she was for abortions. And I just think it's adding on to what you were saying, Dave. And I asked her, why do you believe in that, Grandma? And she said, well, Chaz, I was raised in the foster care system. My mom knew that my stepdad was raping me until the age of 12. And she said, when your great aunt and I, who was her twin, went into the foster care system, my great aunt went to 63 homes in a matter of a few years in Oakland. And so she said, that she just believed that to save the kids from all that pain. And I don't agree with that. However, I appreciated her expressing her feelings. And I think there's always a why behind the behavior, and there's a place. And I think we have to ask people questions so they can help process it themselves. I think that's where the education is so powerful, to say, hey, let's really process this and try to understand the reason why you feel life begins at this, or why you feel you need an abortion. And I think a lot of times when we have those healthy discussions, they don't always end in a more positive route, but sometimes they do, because the person realizes, where's that trauma and that pain actually stemming from, and maybe it doesn't have to be duplicated in that reality. Maybe there can be a different path forward for my potential child. And so, I just think that's interesting. Usually it's coming from a place of personal pain.
It's coming from a place of personal pain or personal experience of someone who's gone through something really difficult. And one of the things that we notice at Real Choices is over 43 years, we've never had one person bang down our door mad that they went through with their pregnancy and kept their kiddo. And yet we see hundreds, if not thousands of women every year go through our abortion recovery programs, just like you said, with a grief and a brokenness. Men and women, or actually women and men in our program. The recovery partner we work with just had their first men's retreat for abortion recovery as well. But it's always coming from a place of compassion. It's never coming from a place of malice, ever. It's always coming from a place of compassion for the woman, for the situation, or like you said, Dave, for the child. I don't want them to grow up the way I grew up. That was terrible. And so, those are really important questions and conversations to have. And while we might not come to agreement, we can at least come to understanding, and is there a middle ground? Is there a better place? Because as a pro-lifer, I'm not trying to move you into like no abortions ever mode on our first conversation. What I'm trying to get you is to just think through, and you help me think through, so I can be empathetic towards our clients that are coming through the door. We always are. We're always kind, and that your wheels can start turning too of, who is that person on the ultrasound screen we're seeing? And is it possible that out of a bad situation or a trauma, something really beautiful can happen? And that doesn't mean from point A to point B, it's not going to be really hard. But women can do super hard things. And that's what we love to show them, is like, you can be empowered, and we're going to help resource you to break down the steps of what would it take? What would it look like? Do you know there's anywhere between 30 and 60 families waiting for a newborn? There's a crisis of newborns not available for adoption. Like, there are parents longing to start a family or grow their family, and there aren't babies available right now. So, I think it's a very, I don't know how to describe it, but it's not a cut and dry black and white scenario ever.
I want to share this too, Dave. I have this peer that I used to work with, and I won't say his name, but we almost never agree on anything. In fact, sometimes it gets really, really heated, our exchanges, respectful, but heated. And I remember one time they were trying to pass a bill about parental notifications, and I have a lot of different legislative individuals come to me for advice, or I've been asked to head up a few different things like assisted suicide, and I don't agree with that, so I did not, but I'm able to pull people together for different initiatives. But specifically, I was for this, and he asked why, and so I was explaining the whole aspect of human trafficking, and especially when it's people in your extended family or neighbors, and they're getting these young children pregnant, and then they go and force them into an abortion, and you don't even realize it. How are we supposed to rescue our children if we don't know this is happening? Right. And granted, we should be paying attention. If we are, we're probably going to see some of this stuff. But it does happen. Yeah. It does happen. And uncles sometimes rape young women, and sometimes they get pregnant. And so, parental notification is very important. And see, I know there's the other aspect of the parents sometimes will abuse the young woman, and so there's got to be a balance and different mechanisms to be able to protect them. But it is a very, very not black and white every single scenario situation.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think most people come to the conclusion just because of groupthink, and honestly because they feel like it's the right thing to do because their party said to do it. And I don't think anyone should have that opinion, and everyone should be able to figure it out based on research. So that brings me to, I think my next question is, with abortion, with these conversations and stuff, do you guys get studies from both sides of the aisle intentionally? Do you guys do any of that stuff?
Absolutely. And I love to talk about the abortion argument using Planned Parenthood's own research arm, Guttmeyer. They have fantastic studies about how many and implications and all of the things. And so a lot of the times, we try not to prove with our own life-affirming organization statistics, but actually go direct to the source. Planned Parenthood has amazing stats. They just released their 2025 report with stats. They released it on Good Friday, and they'll show you everything. You go on their website, they tell you everything. So
yeah, I think that's crazy, because I think that's the argument a lot of times for people would be, okay, well, it's biased stats, and in those, and maybe it's not the people that they would agree with, right?
Yeah.
But
and a lot of times abortion stats are hard to measure because, Chaz, like you were saying, yes, a lot of people, I'm not going to make some sweeping statement that says everyone who gets an abortion regrets it. That's not true. But what we see is the grief sometimes is very delayed. Like, you're going to have an abortion when you're a teenager in your early 20s, and it does feel like the right choice, and it does feel like the best decision ever, and it does feel empowering, and it does feel like no big deal. And then you get to the point where you're trying to have kids, and then you realize I had an incomplete abortion, or there was fetal tissue left in. And I'm not trying to do this as a scare tactic, or this only happens, a handful of times. It's a handful of times over a large millions of women. And so the stats are actually pretty staggering when you break it down to the numeric level of how often the abortions go wrong or leave lasting fertility damage. I think it's not surprising to see in society we're seeing an uptick in fertility issues as we see an uptick in abortions and birth control use. And so sometimes it does feel, like I said, the best decision, my right decision, until it's not anymore, until you're staring at the ultrasound for the 8-week-old baby you do want and you're ready for. And I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm saying it triggers a host of things inside the moms, inside the dads, that may hit days, months, years, decades later. And that's what I love with our abortion recovery partners, because we circle back to them and go, hey, we're still here if and when that happens.
I've had the honor to be with hundreds of people as they've died. And I will say that it's very interesting what you said. They may not regret that right away, but like I said, I've never met somebody who didn't grieve that loss down the road.
Right.
And people that thought that was the right decision, there are so many women that talk about it on their deathbed and actually see those babies as they're dying and talk about that regret. So I will just I can only throw out my personal experiences with that. But it is very interesting that it's, regardless of how you feel about the actual abortion, it's a loss, and it does become a loss later from my experiences with people on their deathbeds. And I just think that's really interesting. Out of their whole lives, some of the things they're talking about is the losses of those babies.
Yeah. Well, it's an incredibly emotionally, physically, and spiritually charged decision. You cannot pull any of those pieces apart, no matter what you believe, from a personal perspective, because all three of those things are going to impact, and they're all going to have an effect over time on you, whether you feel it in the moment or you feel it later.
You asked me earlier, what if someone hates you for saying that? There's a lot of people that already hate me. So, because of some of the stuff we're involved in. So that's okay. I still love you.
Yeah.
And that's where the key needs to be, is love.
That's right.
And we need to, as leaders of these organizations that are Christian, Good Shepherd's a Christian organization. We have to love everyone that walks through our doors. Yeah. We've been accused of possibly not loving people. Different people that were transgender and other people
trying to sue us. Yeah,
but it didn't go through, and you know why? Because we do love everyone that walk through our doors. We don't turn anyone away.
Yeah.
If you walk through our doors, we get you what you need. We get you clothes.
And that's the same with us. Like, when you walk through, you feel the love. If you're a Christian, almost everyone walks through like, whoa, hey, Holy Spirit. Like, this place is prayed up. It is loving. It is kind. It is compassionate. If you meet any member of my team, they are incredible women who love people. They love people, and they love people really well, because we're not up there judging. We're not up there preaching. We're not up there pushing any agenda. We're just helping that woman make the best choice for her. And again, like I said, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, it doesn't matter. It's checked at the door, because all we're doing is coming around side and helping her and giving her the education she needs so she can make the choice that's best for her.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great.
For free.
Everybody deserves to be able to go through that experience with dignity.
Yes.
And that have someone walk alongside you. So I appreciate that. This is a good conversation. It's probably one of the more I don't know, the sketch, not sketchy,
It's a
but
hot
more,
topic.
it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
That's good. I think
Potato
this
topic.
is a good conversation. Thank you for coming today,
course, thank you.
being part of the show. Chaz, do you have a final thought to close us out?
Nope, I just, our cliche saying is be the change you want to see in the world. And thank you for trying to be that change and help
you.
bring mothers through those different decisions and just walk alongside them. And thank you for sticking with those who do decide to do complete an abortion, because that's really what we're called to do. Regardless of the decisions and the behaviors, we're called to love the people, not their behaviors and decisions.
Yeah, because sometimes the policies or the decisions
Like how
become
Dave treats me.
hated in general that it doesn't matter what you say. It's going to sound hateful. It doesn't matter. And that sucks to some people. It just feels hateful just because you said it.
And for us, that's where we invite you to come take a tour of the center. And a lot of people that want to hate us, they will not come in for a tour. They just want to hate us. But I encourage you, whether you love us or whether you're like, I don't know if that girl's for real and she's telling the truth, come visit, come take a tour and see for yourself what it's all about. And you can visit us online at realchoicesnv.org to see all of our resources, our events coming up, and all the ways we serve the community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you want to find out more about Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, please visit getclothes.org. That's where you can find out all the information about the podcast, how to be a sponsor, and also the storefront and all the events and all the other crazy things we're doing all the time. So thank you guys. Thank you for sticking through this episode and having these honest conversations. We help over 800 people a month, no matter what. We're asking you to come alongside and help one. All right, guys. See you later.
Sure.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you.